I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but what is a contemporary IPA? What are we looking at this contemporary IPA? And this time from the Trzech Kumpli Brewing Company in Poland. That is 3 pals. Are we going to fall out at the end of this though? Check the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. We're racing through these Beer52 beers this month, and this one certainly caught my eye because it's called a contemporary IPA. Now, obviously, I think a lot of the time when you look at craft beers and you look at IPAs, a lot of people would say, yeah, I like IPAs and I go into the pub and I'll have an IPA, but they're not the sort of IPAs that we associate as craft beer lovers. So I'm thinking a contemporary is more that sort of using those new age hops that we expect. And looking at it in the glass, it looks pretty hazy. So I'm expecting this to be more in that sort of New England and using those sort of Citra, Mosaic and those sort of traditional sort of hops. I haven't actually looked at what hops are in it. I'm going to have a quick look here. Does it say the hops? It says... No, it doesn't actually say the hops. It's 5.5% though. So again, for an IPA, it's quite low in terms of alcohol. We've had session IPAs that are 5.5 and more, and we've had pale ales that are. So again, this is from Trzech Kumpli, which is translated as 3 pals, 3 buddies. So I'm going to get that into the glass and see what it looks like. See if it looks like, say, a New England IPA, and so we can see what a contemporary IPA is all about. I'm expecting it to be, fruity and zesty, and and it certainly looks very sort of light and yellow. Bit of an idiot pour there, 3-finger head. It's yellow, but it's hazy, but it's not as hazy as. It's not like the custardy sort of haze. It's just a sort of very bright yellow. Well, probably more what you expect from a hazy pale ale. I'm going to put that down while that head settles, and I'm going to tuck into Ollie's pretzels. So this was a snack that was in the box this month. Usually, a lot of the time we get corn snacks, and it's sort of almost a little bit, corn snacks. We did get nuts one month, but I think that they need to be a bit more creative. So these are at least different. These are salted original, and they're pretzels there. They're fairly bland, there's not. It would be nice to do a bit spicy, but they're just like little salted biscuits, really. Okay, that's going to get the old palate going, and let's get some aromas for this beer, shall we? So we're getting a quite citrusy. We've got lemon. There's a bit of lime in there as well. Maybe a bit of, lychees. It's that smell which you think, I don't know, I've never tasted a lychee, but it appears in beers. And now, because I've seen a beer describer saying it's got a lychee aroma to it, now I smell it, I think, what is it? I think lychee is almost like a sort of melony lime, pear maybe. That sort of aroma. And when you smell it, you know there's something else that's in there, and by the process of elimination, we will say it's a lychee. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just making this up now. Maybe I've had too many craft beers and I'm just running out of different fruits to mention. But for me, something like that. And there's lime in there as well. It's very, very sort of light and citrusy. Let's try it, shall we? Cheers. Yeah, I'm going to have another taste of that. It's very light, but it's quite got a reasonable medium to soft carbonate, soft in its mouthfeel, and the carbonation is there, but it's not overly carbonated. You get that lime, you get a bit of melon and lemon. That's not easy for both of them to say. So that lemon and lime, it's very much on that sort of zesty side of the sort of citrus. So you're not getting the orange fruit. You're not really getting a little bit of maybe white grape in there as well. And there's a pininess as well. But whereas, the beer that I've I mean, obviously, I'm on my second beer tonight. The first one I drank was the one, the Barber, which hopefully the reviews are out and you've seen that one. And it was quite bitter. Now this it has a sort of piney sort of flavour to it. You know, that real fresh pine sort of flavour. It's difficult to describe, you know, what pine actually is. You just, until you know it in your mouth, you know, think, yeah, it's got a fresh, you know, almost like cut grass. Not that you drink cut grass, but it's just that sort of fresh earthiness about it. And that has that flavour, but it doesn't. But the bitterness is dialed really much more further back than it was with the last one, the Barber, which was very bitter at the beginning and sort of stayed all the way through. This one, you get the lime and the lemon and that zest, and a pininess. We have had it in other beers where it's just a lovely fresh sort of flavours of lemons and limes, and a pininess in there. But there's no bitterness. It's very sort of soft and gentle in terms of that pine flavour. It just floats across the back of the mouth really, and then in the back end, it's quite dry, which is no bad thing. Misty Contemporary IPA. Yeah, I mean it's quite unique because to me it's more like a pale ale. It doesn't. It's so light. It doesn't have that sort of that body that you usually associate with an IPA. Certainly a contemporary IPA. I think it's just that pininess, lemon and lime. I mean, I think when you look at craft beers, and you know, we drink a lot of craft beers on this channel. Obviously, this is what the channel's about, and we are drinking a lot of craft beers made in the UK. In fact, probably 80% of the beers that we drink are from the UK, and they almost fit the same sort of profile. As soon as we start going into, you know, onto the continent, we're looking at Poland, Germany, and we've had beers from Croatia and places like that as well, and Holland. And when they do craft beers, that they do them slightly differently. I don't know whether it's just the water or just the way that they interpret and their brewing processes are. But I can almost get to the point where I can drink that now, and I think, yeah, I can tell it's a craft beer. I can tell it's got those sort of fruitier notes that I would expect with a craft beer. But there's something about it that's the conditioning of it, the way that it sits in the glass and the way it sits in your mouth in terms of the flavour. It's starting to become now. I think, yeah, I can associate that as a beer that's probably from Northern Europe, you know, opposed to being a beer that's brewed in Manchester, for example, or even like the American beers. I mean, I haven't drank that many American beers. I'm trying to think if I've drank any, in fact. They make some real strong characteristics in terms of, you know, they're American. A lot of the British brewers are actually taking on more of those sort of American brewing processes. So I don't know what they're doing in the continent, but it's quite different and it's nice. I think it's good. I think it's certainly better than the last one, the Barber. It's fresher. There's no bitterness. It's got a nice mouthfeel. It's zesty. It's really refreshing. It's a damn good beer. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for this Misty Contemporary IPA. It was a nice looking beer and a nice tasting beer and a nice aroma in the beer. Contemporary IPA, I'm not sure if that's just some sort of tag that they're saying, yeah, we brew it with New World of hops, so that's why we call it contemporary. Aroma first, well, not like a lot of these Beer52 beers, they're not, I wouldn't say it was overly, you know, they're overly aromatic. You know, there's very much that sort of lime and lychee sort of aromas that I'm getting, a little bit of lemon, very zesty like. It's quite pleasant, but it's a little bit dull back. So I'm giving it 12 out of 20 for aroma. Appearance, well, it's a nice yellowy, you've got a nice lacing in the glass. It's a little bit clearer than I would expect from an IPA, a bit lighter. I'm giving it, God, I got one of those pretzels stuck in my throat now. I'm going to have to drink this one, excuse me. If I was a professional, I would have stopped the video, regained some composure, and then started it again. But let's just plough on, shall we? So where was we? 8 out of 10 for appearance. It's a nice yellowy, fairly light looking, not as custardy as a lot of the sort of New England IPAs that we have, but it's still pretty good. 8 out of 10. Flavour wise, well, I quite liked it actually. It has more of a flavour of a pale ale. It's refreshing, it's zesty. You got lime and lemon in there, very big. Lychee as well. Not much else, no real tropical flavours in there, but the bitterness, and it's got this pininess about it, but it's the pininess without the bitterness. We do get that from time to time with some beers, where you get that sort of pine flavour, but usually it comes with bitterness. But this it doesn't, which for me is better. So I'm giving it 33 out of 40 for flavour. And then value for money, it's a 7 out of 10, I'm afraid. I feel that sometimes these Beer52 value for monies are, one of these days I'm going to sort of suddenly change it all up and go, yep, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10, or I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a great beer. But I think it's a 7 out of 10, 330ml bottom, you pay £3 for it if you're in the normal £24 for 8 bottles. And then the overall experience, well, I quite like this, and certainly after the last one that I drank, which, you know, probably a day apart for you guys, but, you know, for me, it was like literally a matter of 5-10 minutes. It's just got less bitterness, which makes it more drinkable, in my opinion. It's light and it's refreshing. And I want to go back to Krakow when I had a great time there a few years ago. I mentioned on another video, and I can imagine myself sitting outside on a, you know, in some sort of medieval square, really sitting there and knocking those back. Really enjoyable. It's, you know, we're getting this quite light and refreshing, which, you know, is not, you know, at the moment I'm certainly seeing there's a lot more people reviewing dark beers, stouts, real sort of autumnal winter sort of beers. This is a great summer beer, which we're not in summer now, but I still like it. It's nice, refreshing and zesty. So 13 out of 20 for my overall experience. We top those scores up, we get 73. We're still in the 70s. It's still a pretty good beer. It's a recommended beer. It's a Whitesnake beer. Get down and drink it. Slide it down, slow and easy. I've already drank this. I can't even just do that for the effect. But Misty Contemporary IPA. This brewery, you know, we've had a few now from these. There's quite a few in the box. They're a solid damn brewery. So I think if you see any of the Trzech Kumpli beers, they're obviously one of the top breweries in Poland at the moment. In fact, the Beer52 has selected them. I'm interested to see what other stuff they do, because all the stuff so far has been consistently pretty good, pretty high bar. So until the next one, keep on rocking.